palette is usually super subdued, like the grays, pastels. So this was a storytelling turning point for me because I felt like it was needed in order to, I don't know, like to push a bit of bravery into the future. That's how I felt about it. Thank you for that question.
Yeah. Yes.
There's so much intellectual information, and I have so many questions, but I hope, is there a videotape?
Yeah, we're recording.
I wish like this very smart woman next to me that I could got my paper and pencil.
Well, she's a writer, so.
I was a physician, so usually I am doing that, but I am not prepared. But I will say, so many things spoke to me. I love the name, whatever the name of the flower that you said, the fire followers. The fire followers. And then just putting this out, and you may relate to that, Michelle. First of all, you said, I'm not an intellectual, I'm just an art person. And I went, don't you dare!
Yeah, I thought that too.
We're learning. I am clearly an intellectual. Like when you said saturated colors, I went, saturated colors. Okay, that must mean saturated colors. Learned so much intellectually from you. But I really wonder, and Michelle knows my passion for that, how you bring, the people who often need hope the most, might be those in hospitals, the people who are sick, who are in the middle of their fires, and so just to bring that in, is it support groups there? Is it, an evening? Your work is, your art is powerful, but it is just as powerful for me to hear you describe nature and how it overcomes, and just like the flower that you just said. Because those are the science behind it all, those are the scientific facts. And I think that humans do follow, as you just said, nature. But I just thank you for coming. I have so many things I want to go home and read, and who is the poet, what's her name? So I hope I can get the video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
And I've thought about that too, because after I survived an illness, I was for 3 years on the selection committee for the James Cancer Hospital Gallery. And so we have to, when we have artist submissions, we had to very much follow their mission of healing. So we can't put anything challenging, in the space. And I kept seeing the same kinds of works being selected, and I thought, healing is so much more than just like a pretty landscape. And so when I came across Elsa's work, and I could very much feel so intimately that hope, and I need hope to survive what I did. But when a lot of the public looks at this, some people think it's too destructive, and I don't see it as destructive. And I don't know and maybe it's not right for a hospital setting, that's not for me to judge, but I found incredible hope in the story and the resiliency of the work. And I don't know if you would know because you have spent so much time in the medical world, I also had a lot of art therapy, and I could see, and my art therapist at the James some days had me building rock totems, and I was like, what is she talking about? Like, I have to go home and build a rock totem, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna survive this, but what I learned was the destruction and the renewal of nature. And I did grow up with nature, and I'm very fortunate. I grew up across the street from a park, and always had that. I remember seeing a cloud one day that was, you see the clouds, but there was like a cloud on the baseball field, and I went to go run through it. And then even in my backyard, the two of them were at my house, and they were like, you have nature, a forest. And I'm like, no, it's just a little backyard in Worthington. They were like, no, it's like a forest. It's lush, yeah.
You have a deer problem.
Yeah, I have a deer problem, yeah. So thank you for that, because, you know, if it's not an institution, maybe it is a medical facility, I don't know,
Well, and the other thing that just comes to mind is that science think very binary. So maybe, you know, there is a meditative space where it's the landscape, but there's also a space where this is for hope. And they can be very different things. So somebody, at some point through an illness, you or your caregivers need just meditation, and at other stages of it, you go, I need hope. And it's a different,
You're right.
there are different spaces, and as a scientist, Carolyn can attest this, I think so black and white. She's like, you know, can you just try to, there's something in between, but you know, that's a push from my little brain.
That's where poetry bridges the gap, right? Poetry and art bridges that gap.
Right,
That's why.
but it need to be presented that way, that this is about finding hope. This isn't for someone to come down for whatever person's
I'm with that.
encounter.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Stella.
Yes, so Gloria Anzaldúa, a Mexican-American scholar, writes about the space in between, right, in Nepantla, where a lot of things happen. And I think I'm hearing your story, and I know that those 10 years where you're in Nepantla, where you're creating, and now here is, you know, your body of work, which brings us so much hope, it brings us so much beautiful energy. I feel like your whole work is a decolonial act, rooted in ancestral wisdom. And I'm wondering, in between this space right now, and because you do have a forward thinking, you do have a vision, I wonder what is your Nepantla looks like from here into next.
That's a very good question.
Loaded question, Stella.
Maybe it's like a cocktail later.
We may need to break out the tequila for that.
Somebody said coffee and water.
You know, to be honest, like the invitation to be brave in a project space like this, it has trickled over into the new series is called Dream Work. So for a long time, I've been very informed by the thought that dreams are decolonial spaces. They're very intimate spaces where we have access to our own wisdom, ancestral wisdom. Like there are things that we don't fully recognize as knowledge, right? In our Western ways of thinking about things. And dreams give us access to those symbols that I think are very important. So I'm scared making this new body of work, the Dream Work series, because this is, again, I'm willing to kind of look like a fool again and see if it resonates or not, and I'll just continue that path, because now I've developed a thick skin for that type of path. We'll see. Yeah, for sure.
And I've not seen a dream piece yet, so she's keeping that hidden. But maybe before you leave Columbus today, you'll show.
Oh, for sure.
I just wanted to
Darcy.
I just wanted to add, sorry, give me a little.
No, come in.
I work
Sit.
at a,
Sit.
sure. I work at a hospital, interpreting to families for 20 years. And it is a constant challenge to hear natural medicine. And then conventional medicine not understanding. And then interpret not only breaking the language barrier, but also bridging the cultural gap. Because they have to be saying that it's okay for a baby to have chamomile tea for the colics. Because the minute they walk in, they're like, you cannot do that to a baby. It's just not good. It's very confusing. So when I came into the space and I see this, I'm like, this is so uplifting for our progressive new communities coming into Columbus. We're not minorities anymore because we're growing so fast, so we're progressing here. So I feel like this will be so
for other cultures. So that way you can bridge this medicine of nature, and just help them cross to the conventional way. So this is very exciting. So thank you for bringing this to Columbus.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's a lot of responsibility, right? To
I'm just
think
a
of,
painter. I'm just a painter.
but you're not just a painter. I mean, I think that's why, there was no question that you would be the first at Petra Projects. And, I think you sell yourself short. I think Anna's right. You're very much an intellect, and, the knowledge you carry just astounds me, really. Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And I'll just end by saying, like, it's an honor to be the inaugurating artist. And, I know what a soulful project this is for Michelle. This is not a business project. Like, this is very heart-based work that she's doing here. So it's an honor